Why women are unhappy. Now let's get into it. The reason why women are unhappy is because a lot of these women, they grew up in single mother households and they see their mother, doing all the work, and they don't have no father there. So what they do is they do the same thing that their mother, is doing. They go out, get a degree. And another reason why women are unhappy is because they're trying to compete with other women. That strong, independent mindset is leading them to, unhappiness and misery. They're trying to compete with other women. Oh, if she can get a 2-story house, I can get a 2-story house too. Since she got that car, I can get that car too. Oh, you can be strong and independent, I can be strong and independent too. And, they're getting these degrees and they're working themselves, a lot. And they're making this decision, because they're trying to compete with other women, because women are very insecure. This is why a lot of women are unhappy, because they're always trying to compete and they're never satisfied inside. This is why a lot of women, majority of women are unhappy. They're never, ever satisfied. They just want more and more and more and more. And by them getting these degrees and trying to prove that, they can be a strong, independent woman, it makes them unhappy. They seen their mother not have a man in the household. So, they had that same mentality. Oh, I can raise these kids by myself. When they were a child, their mother, had taught them, man ain't this and man ain't that, and saying all this negative stuff about men. But they don't understand that men and women, they were meant to, come together, have a connection, and do things together. But they don't want to do things together with a man. They want to do it by themselves because their mother in society, in this single mother, and strong and independent mindset and feminism has taught them to, oh, you can do it by yourself. You don't need no man. And by them trying to do it by themselves, they're miserable because they're taking on the role of a man. They're trying to, become men. They're trying to have that, I'm a woman, but I think like a man. I can think like a man. No, you can't think like a man. You can't think like a man if you're a woman. That's ignorance. Women say that out of ignorance. You are a woman. You're feminine. You're built way different than a man. A man has a total different mindset than a woman. So you can't think like a man because you're not one. Another reason why women are unhappy is because they're confused. They live life off of emotions and living in a fantasy world. So they don't know what they want. They don't know what man that they want to settle down with. They just go from guy to guy to guy, and they're unhappy doing this. This is why a lot of women are unhappy. They don't know what they want when it comes down to a man and just in life in general. They don't know if they want to be a strong, independent woman or a, very feminine woman, nice woman, that want to be a wife. They don't know which one they want to be, a strong, independent woman or a wife. The reason why a lot of women are unhappy is because they always trying to compare themselves, to other women. When women, get dressed up and stuff like that, a lot of times they do that, out of spite to make other women jealous. Yeah, they want to attract men, but they do this too to, want to make other women jealous. This is why they put on all that makeup, put on these wigs or, extensions or whatever the case is, put on all this, this materialistic stuff, push-up bras, all this high-price stuff. They're trying to make other women jealous. They don't have, a really good mindset. A lot of these women don't have a lot of, they don't have a really good mindset. They live life based off emotions. So they don't know what they want. They don't know really, what they want to do with themselves. Another reason why women are unhappy is because a lot of these women out here, they're living life. They're living their whole life with low self-esteem. They're living their whole life insecure. They never, become, secure with themselves. They never want to, settle down, or settle for anything. They don't. They just want more and more and more and more. Another reason why women are unhappy is because when they're sad, they try to act like they're happy on social media. They take a picture with their boyfriend, and she know that he cheated, and they smile on these pictures, or they try to act happy in public with a man that they're sad and miserable with in private. This is why these women are unhappy. This is why a lot of these women are unhappy. They want the world to think that their life is perfect. They want the whole world to think that, that they're living out, this fantasy. They live in fantasy land. So they have unrealistic expectations and standards. This is why a lot of women are unhappy. And they can't keep a man like that. They cannot keep a man like that. Because they think a man owed them something. They think a man owes them the world. When it's not true. It's just not true. Because when a man, give them the world, they get bored and they take advantage of that man, and then they move on to the next guy. Or give them what they want. Eventually, they're going to get bored. Another reason why women are unhappy is because, a lot of these women have bad intentions based off of why they do things. They have wrong motives. And, they love, drama, these drama-filled, TV shows. They always watching, a girl getting kidnapped, or maybe the first 48, or, a movie with a lot of shooting in it and stuff like that. This is what they like. They love negativity. So their mindset is toxic. They don't have room for happiness with a toxic mindset. Watching all these shows that's full of drama, violence, and chaos. They have a toxic mindset. You can't be happy with a toxic mindset. Another reason why these women are unhappy is because of, what they eat. They eating food that's not good for them. And they working these long hours, at work, with this strong, independent diva mindset. And they're miserable. They're miserable. Because they want to prove, because of society, how society, how they condition us that, women can't do this by themselves, or they can't do that by themselves. So women, what they're trying to do is they're trying to, they're trying to do everything by themselves now. They're trying to prove the world wrong. Oh, I can do this by myself. Oh, I can get a house by myself. I can live by myself. I can get a car by myself. You know, I can work hard. You know, I can do that. I can do the same thing a man can do. You know, because girls run the world. And all this. This is why they're miserable. You know, they're leading their self. They're leading their own self to misery. But not, you know, by having a strong, independent woman mindset. Trying to do everything by themselves. And it is stressing them out. It is stressing them out. But they do this. You know, they get all these accomplishments and stuff like that. And these titles and these degrees just for bragging rights. No, just to brag about it. Just to brag about it. But at the same time, you know, to, you know, keep their jobs and working all these long hours is bad on their health. This is why they're so unhappy. You know, this is why women are so unhappy. Because they're trying to do everything that a man does. They're trying to prove, you know, the world wrong. They're trying to prove this society wrong. Oh, yeah, I can do it. If he can do it, I can do it too. And that's not the case. Another reason why women are unhappy is because they don't want to play their role. They don't want to play their role as a woman. You know, they're trying to think like a man. When I hear a woman say, you know, say I can think like a man, it's just a total turnoff. It's just a total turnoff. Or when I see a woman trying to compete with the man, it just shows how insecure these women are. It's sad. You shouldn't be trying to compete with the man or in a relationship with the man trying to compete with him. You're supposed to be trying to complete, you know, him. You know, not trying to compete with your man. These women are miserable. And these women are very, very unhappy because of what they're trying to do. They're always trying to, you know, prove themselves. And it just shows, you know, a sign of insecurity that lives inside of them. Always trying to prove themselves. And they're leading themselves, you know, to misery. By trying to, you know, be masculine when they were born to be feminine. You know, it's pathetic. But they causing this on themselves. Hope you guys got some out of this video, man. This is why women are unhappy. You know, because a lot of these women are very insecure. They're always trying to, you know, trying to prove something. They're always trying to compete with a man or a woman. And, you know, they love chaos and drama. A lot of them eating unhealthy. And they trying to think like a man. They're trying to think like a man. They're trying to play the role of a man when they was born to be feminine. And they're going against nature by doing this. They're going against nature. By doing this, by trying to think like a man. You know, by having this strong, independent diva mindset. By trying to lead. And this is why women, you know, are completely, you know, unhappy. They don't know what they want. They have low self-esteem. They're very egocentric. And they are never, ever truly satisfied. And they are very, very ungrateful. And it all leads to misery and unhappiness. Hope you guys got some out of this video, man. This is why women are unhappy. It's Coleman.